Good morning, everybody. My name is Danilo Acquisto. I'm going to be your MC for today. Our discussion today is the big takeover of digital video and the move towards CTV. And we're going to take a look at this through the global and a local perspective, so that everybody can get an insight as to where we're going in the next sort of 5 years as an industry and the role that video will play in marketing and advertising. Our first speaker, her name is Lorraine Landon. She's the head of advertising products and solutions at Google Sub-Saharan Africa. She's going to be talking us through the real hard data, the hard to ignore stats as to why we need to think differently about digital video, and showing us some of the stats about Google's obviously favorite video product, YouTube, and the consumption that they're seeing in the YouTube world in South Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa, and the shift towards connected televisions.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Danilo. The acronym CTV, what is it? Connected TV. And what we're seeing from a YouTube perspective is that over 5 million people are accessing YouTube from their connected TVs. What we've seen from an advertising perspective, however, is that over a year-on-year basis, we've seen a 200% increase in ad impressions. So the very savvy advertisers are now seeing that because of this audience segment accessing video content on their TVs, they're now creating content for that space. Interestingly, if you look at it from a consumer perspective, we polled a whole bunch of people, and when they said they watch YouTube on TV, they consider it as TV. And one of the interesting kind of psychographic or behavioral shifts we've seen here is that consumers are no longer looking at platforms in terms of, I am now watching TV, I am now watching YouTube. It becomes almost a ubiquitous or agnostic content consumption. You can watch YouTube on your laptop. You can watch DSTV on your phone. The consumers are now, regardless of where they are, finding ways of consuming content. So in South Africa, we have over 20 channels with more than 1 million subscribers and an increase of 15% year on year. And this is increasing as we, every week, we're seeing more and more creators hitting these key milestones. In South Africa, over 450 channels have 100,000 subscribers, and that's growing at 40% year on year. And then 4,000 channels have more than 10,000 subscribers. What is the difference between running campaigns independently and from an integrated perspective? And you can see that the ROI increased by over 67% when there was a mindfulness around that integration. And I think this really comes into bringing the media, creative, and the brand partners together to be aligned on what you're looking to achieve from your advertising campaign. A couple more stats. 87% of Gen Z in South Africa are open to advertising branded content when watching a video that is personally relevant. And I think that key word there is relevance. Like, how do we really partner with people who are speaking to the same audiences that we want to as brands? And how do we get the qualities of that storytelling imbued in the brand conversation that we're having? The other stat here is 90% of viewers in South Africa say advertising in YouTube videos makes them more aware of brands and products. So how are we artfully placing new brands, new products into the conversation and the storytelling landscape in our country?
Right. Thank you very much for your time today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our second speaker onto screen today, colleague and friend of mine, Aleksandra Surogina from Special Effects Media South Africa. Alex is going to be talking us through some of her insights on how this understanding of that data in the landscape has been applied in a client context, and to help you and the brands that you perhaps work with or the partners that you engage think differently about content creation and distribution in this video-centric world.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now we're going to talk a little bit about digital video best practice, just from a general sense. So how would a brand in this new video first world really kind of take on creating video? I'm going to cover 6 points today. So first and foremost, which is kind of the most important one, I feel, and something that people often look over, but that's formats. Essentially, when it comes to format, you really have to be doing whatever is platform appropriate to succeed. The second one is paying attention to structure. So by structure, I'm referring to the actual structure of a video asset. Something that's super important is the hook. I'm sure you guys have heard this term a lot, scroll stopping content. You really want to make sure that you hook your audiences in the first few seconds. That's like super vital to stop the scroll and to gauge their attention. Trends. Brands should absolutely be participating in trends. It just really adds the human element and relatability element. And then next is relatability. So this one is a big one. We really always pose this question to ourselves whenever we shoot out a video from editing, having a look at it, and always asking, all right, is this piece of content relevant to the audiences that I am serving it to? And if the answer to that question is not positive, send it back, try again. Removing layers of approval. Because the thing about successful content online in a digital space is that it really needs to embrace imperfection. And if you're not shooting on a professional camera, you don't have footage that looks like it's come from an ad. In fact, that's actually better. And last but not least, keep the short and short form content. So maybe 3 things that I wanted to encourage you guys to think about whenever you are creating video assets for CTV advertising. The first thing is that you have less time. So just ensure that you grasp your audiences from the very beginning, maybe tell a compelling story, and also make sure that your brand is seen and noticed up front. And that leads to brand clarity. Something that we often notice is that on CTV ads, a lot of times brands only pop up after a few seconds, whether it's the logo or any other element of brand recognition. So just make sure it's up nice and early and before. And then last but not least, make sure that the call to action that you have at the end of that asset is clear and it's easy for the audiences to get into. Video really is the new language to speak online. Because of this, brands need to identify platforms that house their primary collective of audiences. And one of those mediums could really be CTV.
I say thank you very much for being with us today for another Insights Day. Keep following the IAB _SA on social media for all the details that you need to know.